Wondering what it was that you did, and you kind of wonder about it for me it could be like days on end, pretty much, of just wondering like, what did I do wrong, what could I have done better.
It makes everything a lot more difficult. Like, you have to actually try to do things that people do every day with ease.
Like a cage. It's like a struggle all the time. Like, I feel like I'm constantly trapped and like the walls are constantly closing in on me.
I don't know, it's just like your mind just feels like kind of heavy, I guess, and like you don't have a lot of energy.
They don't really understand what I'm going through, but I love them to death, and they are really trying hard to help me.
It's kind of cliche, but feeling alone in a crowded room and having like the happiest of days happen to you and not being able to smile.
It feels like I'm drowning and screaming for like everyone above the surface, so all of my friends, people I know love and care about me, but they're not hearing it.
Being in a hurricane, and then one moment you're in the eye of the hurricane, and then you're thrust violently into the swarm.
I just jumped into water with all my clothes on. It took a good time.
Are you eating a blueberry? Can I eat the blueberry? Eat your blueberry. You big fat. Come here, big fat.
I am officially diagnosed with bipolar. I guess it's just somebody who experiences both poles of the emotional spectrum. And they're normally tend to be really exaggerated. So you might experience really severe depression, but then you'll swing sometimes to have kind of like a mania, where you're just, your brain and everything is just going on a real high speed.
You know, they will tell me they feel tired all the time. They aren't motivated. They sleep a lot. You know, sometimes it's literally feeling ill.
The medication for me that's been the most helpful has been lithium. So that's basically the core medication that I'm on currently. I've been on a lot of different medications, but lithium seemed to be the most stabilizing with the least side effects. So I've been on a lot of just, I don't know, some of the more like Seroquel and Cymbalta and different mixes of different types of meds. It took them a while to find one that worked, and then lithium, when I first had it, didn't work, or was causing a real low heart rate, like my pulse was very low. So they switched me up and tried different meds, but we went back to the lithium, and that seemed to work the best for me.
Okay,
Monica, I'm in a dilemma.
I don't want to talk about tables.
You need
My
to.
stomach
Really
hurts. What is that?
Okay, look. You can look, but hold on. Before you said I'm not interested in your rude.
Thank you guys.
So say I'm sorry for being rude.
No
with it.
problem.
Okay. You need to get grades out of the hole. Okay. This is $195. He's asking for the whole set.
There's $195 right now.
Because we are in the midst of.
The other one's ugly.
What, this one?
Monkey, see monkey. Yeah. Do it.
The chairs are not. What if you get both though?
Basketball tryouts?
Mom.
I'm Monica Mazurek. For anyone who doesn't know me, I am the oldest out of 4. I felt like I had to take a lot of responsibility, and I kind of grew up really fast, and I didn't exactly know everything that was going on. So I think the first time she went to the hospital, we were all really young. I don't even know how old I was. I was probably like, was I 7? She just had my little brother James. He's the youngest in our family. And a lot of women actually get postpartum after like their 3rd or 4th kid, and that's what she was originally diagnosed with. And she actually had to get ECTs, which are like, I don't know how to describe it. I think it's like brain shocks, because she was so out of it. Like, I just remember, I actually witnessed this. This wasn't like a story. My little brother was in his like little walkie thing. You know, like babies have those things that they sit in, and it has a little tray, and then there's wheels so they can like walk. I think it's called a walker. So it was his walker, and we have like obviously our upstairs steps, and then we have our basement steps, and we have a door that closes off the basement, and he was walking and the door is open, and he fell down the steps right in front of her, and she was so out of it, it didn't register in her head. And I specifically remember just being like, I don't know if I was like scared or what to do. I remember like telling her, I was like, Mom, like he just fell down the steps. We have to do something. And he was down there and he was like on the floor in his walker. He's obviously little, he can't get out. And she was just so out of it that she didn't really know what was going on. So thank God he was okay. Like that was literally a miracle. Because I'm pretty sure he hit his head. I can't remember everything, but you'd have to ask my mom. They took him to the hospital and he was okay, but that's when they were like, yeah, she's gonna need ECTs, because when a mother who's normally very involved in her kids' lives is suddenly like not registering that one of her kids is like seriously hurt, that's like really serious. So that was like one of the first things that I remember. And we originally went to that, like, I think it was Emory was the hospital that she got her ECTs at. And that hospital, it was good, but it wasn't like super good. So later on, she was diagnosed with bipolar, and I don't think anyone ever explained it to me. I just assumed it was depression because I didn't know that. I don't know. It was weird, like I knew it meant two sides of the pole, but I had never seen her manic before. And so she had like more depressive states, and I actually remember like seeing, this is kind of, sorry if this is like triggering for anyone, but there were like cut marks on her arm, and I was like, Mom, what are those? I was like kind of young, so I didn't really know like about suicide and all that yet. And she was just like, oh, nothing, and kind of like covered up her arm. And this was like after she was better. And I like later figured out that she was definitely cutting herself. And that was when she like couldn't get out of bed, and sorry, it's like weird to talk about. My dad was taking us all to school in the morning, and he definitely became like mom and dad for us. And my little brothers and stuff, they would, I had never seen like any of them cry, I guess, like that much, unless they were hurt, obviously. And they would like cry a lot. And I don't know, it just felt like a lot of responsibility, but at the same time I didn't know fully what everything was.
When you think of a semicolon in reference to grammar, you think of it as almost like a pause in between two sentences. And the way I view it in regards to depression is that, of course, it's a movement that is basically in support of those who battle depression, battle self-harm, thoughts of self-harm and thoughts of suicide. And of course, when you think of suicide, you think of the end. And the semicolon is, in a sense, kind of like a representation of it's not the end. It's a continuation. So I've seen, multiple people that will get, the tattoo of the semicolon, and it's like that's their representation of, instead of wanting my life to end, I will continue to fight.
And I really didn't believe that I was bipolar for a long time, but mine was definitely triggered by my last pregnancy. I had a very severe postpartum depression, and so it was very, very severe. So one of the things, I just started to really go down little by little down the mental, I don't know, I always think of it like a slide, and your brain's going down the slide in slow motion.
How do you think like your mental illness has affected your family?
I don't know that I have a great answer. I mean, I deeply regret it. I think there's probably not a day that goes by that I don't feel as if I have a tremendous debt to make up for. Because there's some things that I think were just awful, and I know have left an impact on my kids. I wish those years had been years that they were getting filled up at a young age. They're irreplaceable years. And they were surviving, not thriving. They could have been thriving if I had maybe been more self-aware. I really wasn't self-aware at all. I wasn't and I was not taking care of myself. But I also, at the same token, I do believe that God can heal and can make up for anything, and that suffering sometimes can bring people closer together or help people to see things that need to be worked on.